morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folarin. Well, the one-time governor of Osun State has been buried, and unfortunately, you know, from the point of view of the news and the reverence of the situation, it just almost, you know, broke down. The part of the festivity ceremonies broke down almost in chaos when a canopy under which about 2 or 3 governors were, including a particular target of an angry mob, were just about almost overwhelmed. Now, what's going on? The late Adeleke is of APC. Osun is an APC state. So what's going on? Why is there this much rancor? That's one of the things that one sort of needs to try and understand, and how all of this will play out going into the governorship elections coming on later on. And then, if we have time, second half of the program, we'll be touching on the evidence before the Vice President's panel on the whole $43.4 million inquiry. Everything in its due course. We've got 2 journalists here. Hi, Chief Ni Akinshiju, policy analyst. Thank you very much for coming on the program.
My pleasure.
And, well, not quite high chief yet, but Chief Babajide Kola Otitoju, journalist. And
thank you so much.
Thank you very much for coming on, Jide. Now, but it's a serious matter. Jide, let me start in-house. Give me your take on, to perhaps an innocent bystander, so to speak, how would he better understand what is going on in an APC state where there's been an unfortunate APC death, and now that they are gathering to do the last honors, it almost is breaking down? What's happening in Osun State?
Well, I think that everything revolves around the politics of 2019. Within the APC, in at least 10 states, the party is fractured, and we have all kinds of crises in those 10 states. I'm just going to talk about a few of those states. Kano is one, Bauchi is one. The governor of Bauchi State has been embarrassed a number of times by members of his own party. Yeah. On a particular occasion, he was going for Eid prayers, and a mob stood on the way. They stoned him. He had to do a detour just to escape being thoroughly embarrassed. There are people who have made up their minds that the governor of Bauchi State must not get a second term. And the problem arises from within his own party. It's not the PDP. In fact, the PDP is hardly mentioned in Bauchi State as we speak. In other states, like Kano, of course, you know the crisis between the Gandujia group and the Kwankwasia group. Kwankwaso was the, is the middle past governor. And then his deputy, who is the governor today, there is kind of no love-lost relationship going on. It got so bad that even on the floor of the National Assembly, both camps squared up and embarrassed themselves. So they even took the deep-seated animosity, you know, between them. They took it from Kano to the National Assembly, again within the same party.
And so what you're saying is that it's something similar playing itself out in Osun.
In Osun State, in this case, there is an election that will happen soon, that will happen before 2019. And many people thought that Isiaka Adeleke would contest, and that if he contests, it will be difficult to defeat. He's quite strong in that state. No, I mean, or he was quite strong. So for some of his supporters, this was something that they didn't expect. Yes. So, and as Africans, we believe so much in myths.
We don't believe in happenstance.
Yes, we do not believe that someone can die through natural causes. No. Can die of natural causes. And in this case, we are hearing all kinds of things, overuse of drugs and all that. Nobody can say with certainty that this is what killed him. But you know, when people are angry, they can respond to that kind of unfortunate incident in different ways.
Which is probably what happened in this case.
Yes.
Now, Nee, what do you make of the fact that Aregbe can come back? You know, so he's not in the race. If the speculation that the late Senator Adeleke was going to, you know, throw his hat in the ring, if that is indeed, you know, sure fact, then arguably it shouldn't really concern anybody else. But apparently, for instance, when the mob attacked a lady that has been referred to as Aregbeshola's nominee at Adeleke's burial, this was sending a very strong signal. Aregbe himself was not there, neither was his deputy, but this unfortunate lady, unfortunate in the sense that she was almost thoroughly embarrassed. We probably have seen the papers this morning, and you see one governor gallantly, you know, being so chivalrous and all of that. That was a message direct to, you know, Aregbeshola, and that therefore is worrying because it would appear that he's been dragged smack into the middle of this.
Yeah, well, when political sentiments are at play, any base reaction, base responses come into play. Yeah.
I like the way you put that.
So nothing is rational any longer. If the rumor, if it's a rumor that late Adeleke was going to contest, we must consider it's a strong rumor, you know, because it actually permeates the whole of the state.
Indeed.
You know, everybody was like expecting him.
And what did they say? That if indeed he did participate, it would be a hard nut to crack.
I mean, he's been very consistent in the politics of the state, and it was one of the power bases anyway that in the second time campaign of Aregbeshola, you know, that helped the incumbent governor to get there. So what I'm trying to say essentially is that the people, or rather his supporters, were dismayed, especially considering the African mentality. Even a 100-year-old person don't get to die naturally in Africa. But what I garnered, you know, from responses there was that the lady is from Ede.
Yes.
And was actually nominated to the cabinet, you know, in the first term of Aregbe by late Adeleke, and that it became more chummy, you know, with the governor than the senator. And of course, when the senator perhaps indicated his interest, it was not too available. I mean, she was not too available, you know, to drive that ambition. And of course,
even though she had been nominated originally
by Adeleke.
So perceptions of loyalty shift.
Exactly, you know. And of course, where do you want her loyalty to shift to? I mean, she has a boss, and she had to deliver on whatever was the task profile, you know. So, but again, base sentiments, no rationale, no reason, you know. But going forward, I think the message is sent to us is we should be more reasonable, you know, in our responses to things like this, so that we don't just go harass innocent people.
Because reports say that even the late Adeleke's immediate junior brother, I think, who was also under that very canopy that was collapsed, tried to shield her, thinking that they might just respect who he was, and being he was wrong according to
there's
reports.
a mob. You know mob mentality. You know, everybody loses identity, you know, in the mob, and at that point in time, anything can happen. You know, so
so it goes back to what Jide said earlier about the party being fractured in quite a number of states.
Definitely.
And
definitely.
so the next thing, therefore, is perhaps Jide. So what's the role of the party in mending these cracks? Can it be done realistically? APC haven't become, in some instances, a party of strange bedfellows.
Yes. I have canvassed repeatedly for the national chairman of the party to call a meeting, to go around the states where we have these problems, to speak to the members of the APC caucus in the National Assembly. Because what we have in the National Assembly is a situation in which it is actually the APC playing the opposition. And not
you know what?
PDP.
On that point, let me go to a quick break, and we'll be back and we'll elaborate on this whole idea. Stay with us, please. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Looking at an almost breakdown of law and order at ceremonies following the unfortunate demise of Senator Isiaka Adeleke. We were looking at it. We started, and the party is splintered in quite a number of states. And Jide was just saying that one of the things that could be done is for IC itself to go around all the states and speak to the caucuses in those states. Yeah, but what do they need to speak to them about? Shouldn't the party be on the same page? What is it going to be like? Say, hey guys, we're in the same party now. This is our goalpost. This is their goalpost. Please don't score into our own goalpost. Is that what they're going to start saying?
You see, politics is an interest-driven game, and within the same party, they all have their interests. They have their goals. They have their ambitions. So these ambitions are getting in the way of unity within the party. You know, so that's why I'm saying that the national leadership of the party must provide real leadership. What I had canvassed, you know, for on so many occasions was what the national chairman did a few weeks back when he went to the National Assembly to have a meeting with the APC caucus in the National Assembly, because the role that the PDP members should actually be playing in the National Assembly is the APC members that are playing it. They've constituted themselves into an opposition within the ruling government, within the ruling party. So we expect that, having met with them, that there will be some improvement, that the bonding that we are not seeing, we shall begin to see. And I'm saying that across the states, especially the 10 states where the APC is at war against itself, that the national leadership should begin to go around and try to solve some of these problems. It is possible for the problems to be solved.
Indeed. Nee, do you think if you agree that too much individual agendas and interests here, even the national leadership, are they all on the same page then?
I don't think they are.
So you see, you see.
Because, yes, we need to background
the conundrum now.
We need to background that with the fact that, as you suggested off here, you know, that APC, yes, I'm a member of APC. I am a staunch member of APC, but it does not remove the fact that different interests, non-aligned ideological positions, you know, people will generally summarize as strange bedfellows, you know, coming together. And indeed, that is it. The whole idea for the formation of the APC, to my mind, was not principally on a philosophy. It was ambition-driven. There was a need to wrest power from the PDP in 2015, and people, most political interest that had one axe or the other to grind with the government in power then, you know, came together. And now, coming together itself was a nice idea. There's nothing bad about it. But going forward, you think there should have been more effort to wield and weld the groups, the different interests together. I think it's the responsibility of the chairman and the ESCO, as it were, as Jide noted. I am not too comfortable with the structure, as it were. Since 2014 or thereabout, there had not been any considerable calibration of the APC structure. I can't see the chairman honing the party.
Now that, and perhaps in a very sort of remote way, that's what played out, the pictures of which we are seeing now, where within one party you have such tension-soaked situations. Usman from Abuja, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning. Thank you very much for calling in.
Thank you. First, let me extend my condolences to the family of the deceased. May his soul rest in peace.
Amen.
Babajide, the encyclopedia.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, Uncle Yori, I want to join my voices in this issue. The truth of the matter, I also align myself with what Babajide has said. And the truth of the matter is that the APC is not on any page. Chocolates of them belonging that are on a different page. They are not on any page at all. And the most unfortunate thing is, I think the bulk of the problem stopped with the office of the national chairman. The national chairman, Mr. Oyegu, is not doing enough as a national chairman. He has not shown himself to be in tight control of the party. This is a party that is divided in so many aspects. Look at trouble everywhere, all the states, and you have never heard the national chairman bringing one step to the other, trying to resolve this crisis. How do they expect to go into 2019 with this kind of faction? It's not possible. If you look at what happened in Kogi, Falake said that ever since Adu died, that is before the emergence of the present governor, that nobody called him to sit him down and say how they can resolve this issue. They just allowed them freely to everybody do what they feel like doing. And that is wrong. And even today, I expected the day the party was declared as the winner, the day Buhari was declared as the winner, I expected the national chairman Oyegu to call caucus meeting and say, okay, now that we have declared winner, this is how we are going to share this position. National Assembly, principal officer, this is how we are going to share it. There wouldn't have been any problem that were arising in the selection of the Senate president. But he did not do that.
Okay.
And now today, what do you have in the National Assembly?
All right, Usman. Thank you very much for your perspective. Therefore, Jide, what do you think? Can it be said, you know, metaphorically, of course, that the leadership in the APC is fiddling while Rome is burning?
Yes, it is. And if you recall what happened to the PDP, I'm seeing signs that history may repeat itself in some states, because 19 of the current APC governors were up till December 4, 2014, still in the PDP. Today they are governors in APC.
That's because really governor of convenience.
Because of the crisis in their states, in the PDP in their states, they left the PDP, and they left with their supporters, and the PDP lost the election in those states. So the warning signs are there. The crisis in Kano has to be resolved because the two gladiators are very strong, they are powerful. So they must not create a situation in which a powerful member of their party defers to the PDP some months or some days to the election and then alter the entire political calculation.
Indeed. So just in case anybody is tuning in, these are pictures from the burial, service ceremony of the late Senator Isiaka Adeleke. And we're discussing how it is that it was almost marred by an angry mob protesting the presence of some people at the event that they thought we shouldn't have been there, and issues of loyalty or not, or non-loyalty to one or the other were at the bottom of all of that. But all parties are of the APC, and that's why we're speaking the way we're speaking. Mr. Motosho, I believe, is on the line. Good morning, sir.
Uncle Yori.
Thank you very much for calling in.
I will first of all pass my condolence to the late senator. And we align with the man on the left of the screen regarding the issue of APC party structure. I'm a card-carrying member of APC, but I'm not happy that party will only surface itself for election purposes. Once elections are won, the party becomes inconsequential. Nobody talks
about party any longer. The adherents, the followers are left on their own. If you come to our meetings that we do on local government basis, nobody addresses us. We don't know what is happening. We that are stakeholders in the formation of the APC, I was a Senate aspirant. I paid money. I invested a lot. Nobody is talking about us. There is injustice in that party. It's a good party with good vision. Like your panel have said, let the party at the national, let them work. They are too docile.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Motayo. I've got to let go of you there. Thank you very, very much for calling in. In fact, before I come back to the studio and get a perspective of another party member in the studio, stay with us, please. We'll go on this break. Okay, let's just wrap on, the point we were making, that the APC, ruling APC, in quite a number of states is fractured, and there's a lot of tension on the ground. Strange bedfellows, let it be said. And it was very, very close to the surface, as it showed in Osun, when some pressure sort of made it erupt. Ni, what can be done, especially as the leadership itself, and as Mr. Motosho said, you're a party member as well. First of all, that worrying assertion that after elections, the party just went to sleep almost, and the people were left to carry on as they saw fit. And bearing in mind that so many governors were of a different party earlier, now they're here and they're allowed to carry on as they will. Why are we surprised that we have what we have?
Well, we are surprised because I would have thought that the national chairman would go into action straight away. It was elected, selected, appointed into that office based on certain expectation, well, by character, is known as a person of integrity and as a principled person too. He has an experience as a former governor, and because of him, another stalwart of the party actually exited the party. In the struggle for who would emerge, as a chairman or no chairman. Now, coming from that background, it's not as if he got into that office easily. He struggled for it. Somebody had to be sacrificed to. Now, I would expect that going forward, after the election, the next thing was to own the party, start consultation, because of the peculiar nature of the party itself. Had so many people so different, with different point of view, different perspective coming. And essentially, for people like me, I'd always believed that party members don't count to be anything in Nigerian political space. It's as if once elections are over, members, especially at the grassroots level, are left, on their own.
To their own devices.
To their own devices.
Let me quickly bring in Ibrahim on this topic. He's calling in from Kaduna. Good morning, Mr. Ibrahim. I'm sorry, I left it a bit too late. Ibrahim was about to... Well, I think there's little more that can be said about the issue. We've identified it. It's not new, but the unfortunate incident of the untimely death of Senator Adeleke has brought it to the fore again. So let's leave that to one side, gentlemen, because we could go on like this for another 2 or 3 hours, analyzing and reanalyzing it. So that's it. Indeed, our condolences to the family. Now, moving on to the other thing that we were going to sort of touch on, we're looking at the vice president-led probe into the whole matter of the vexatious matter of $43.4 million. The NSA is a member of that probe, the Attorney General of the NSA, and I think headed by the Vice President. Now, the NIA boss who has been suspended, it's on all the front pages this morning, has said that he actually did a proper memo about the funds in the possession of NIA to the appropriate authorities. And this would be the National Security Advisor, who is sitting as a member of that panel. And the story has not included a refutation of that assertion. Jide, what do you make of this?
I'm not entirely surprised because sometime last week I was reading, I think, the Vanguard, and the point was made there that the presidency was aware of this money. I think Alhaji Lai Mohammed even made some clarifications in that same story, you know, and that President Buhari was actually informed, provided in some detail, provided information about the covert operations. But these days, I've learned not to believe everything that I read in newspapers, because we were told that, oh, the Attorney General was going to investigate the discovery, only for the Attorney General to come out to say, no, the President never told me to investigate anything. So these days, it's not everything that I read that I'm inclined to believe in. So it deepens the confusion within me.
One moment, Njide. What do you make of this? And especially critics, early critics who had said that this is fast becoming a circus.
Yeah, well, it's obvious. The theatrics is embarrassing, you know, especially in the wake of the breaking of the story, as it were. And you had all manners of comments and statements, you know, coming from even as high up as a governor, you know, and the former minister, and all, there was no effort at convergence, divergence. Also, for everything you had, it was confusion. And I felt that it's high time Nigerian politicians, leaders, those people that make statements that we want to respect, you know, should elevate to the status of statesmen, you know, so that you don't deliberately confuse issue, you know, where you think your interest is protected or you need your interest to be advanced. Nigerians, and we should also understand the fact that most Nigerians are not too literate, and that deliberate effort to confuse people is actually evil, you know, in this context, you know. And if things are breaking like this, why don't we take our time to follow issues? Like he noted, I don't get to any story that ascribes source, unidentified source to it, I don't believe. What I want to believe at any point in time is the official statement, you know.
And the officials are going to have to come up with a statement about how $43.4 million US, for the moment forgetting about who owns it, why it was in a private flat somewhere,
in the first instance,
in a filing cabinet, according to the photographs that we were seeing. So we don't know what's going on, you know, but maybe we're not supposed to know what's going on. You're not supposed to know what goes on with spy money. Even government will deny its own messenger, as you know, in the spy world, and say we don't know where he came from. So it's not clear terrain at all.
That is, if that money was actually meant for the purpose that they want us to believe it was meant for.
Which one? Because there've been a number of what? Are you, the covert operations.
Covert operation.
Okay.
No, that's
okay.
That's
because
we've also popular,
heard. We've also heard in pepper soup joints that it might have been for some political campaign and leftover not spent.
Yes, if you look at the time, the memo that was sent to the CBN directing that the money be released, 2 memos. The first one came on in November 2014. The second one came on February 15, 2015. The one that came in November, you are inclined to think, I'm sorry, I'm using the word you are inclined to think that that was meant to come early enough for the presidential primaries. The one that was written, I mean that the memo for February 2015, you will again be inclined to think that it was meant to be used for the election proper, you know. Because so if you release such humongous sums of money so close to the election, then and we've had all kinds of stories about the kind of money, public money that was used for the election, the way people were bribed up and down in foreign currency, and the role that the NSA played in all of this. And of course, the NSA's name was also boldly embossed in this whole matter from the beginning. So you are inclined to think that this whole claim of covert operations are just constitute a small screen. That the whole intention was just to use this unbudgeted sums of money for ideals that are not noble.
Well, again, maybe it's to clear the air was why the president set up this particular panel, because as Judea said, and there's so many versions, and so it's like we're in so need of an official version that explains everything, difficult as that may be. Understandably, this is I think they're meeting behind closed doors, and that has been criticized again, but that's really understandable, isn't it?
I think it's all right. It's proper.
It's straightforward, understandable.
Because if you make it open, for every statement made, you know, at the panel, you get so many breaking stories from it, and of course, so many imputations too.
Exactly, and you compromise our security and our official secrets, and how spies go about what they do, which is not always elegant. You know?
I've also noted that we have such productive fecund mind when it comes to our imagination.
Let me take Ishak calling in from, I believe it's, good morning, Mr. Ishak, Jos.
Good morning, Mr. Yori, and good morning to your two guests.
Thank you very much for calling in.
Nisha Kawai, I'm calling from Jos. The probe panel headed by the Vice President, I think it's not even necessary in the first place, particularly when the Attorney General of the Federation, who had earlier cleared the SGF, is also part of the same panel. However, I wouldn't want to preempt what the report will be. Let's wait until 2 weeks when the issue will come up. But Nigerians, what we want is, we are saying fight against corruption, but we don't think prosecution of all these high-profile criminals, because I call them criminals. An ordinary Nigerian who stole little money is still, we have our prison that is congested by awaiting trial. All these big people, put them also in awaiting trial. Don't grant them. The judges need to be using their discretion by not granting all these high-profile politicians. And again, these people that stole money will do everything possible to make sure, even if they have to lose half of the money they've been accused of, they can spend that money on their lawyers and judges. They won't mind losing half. They are losing all the money to government. I want to suggest.
Yeah, but you don't spend money on judges.
Their lawyers should also be treated as accomplices.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Ishak. Thank you very much. Just to observe that, whereas I understood when you said you might spend money on lawyers, and then you added and judges, you don't spend money on judges, just lawyers' fees. Judges don't have fees.
And their lawyers will be treated as accomplices.
Yes. And then the other one about lawyers being treated as accomplices, well, we understand. People are angry, but you don't spend money on judges. I've never heard of judges' fees, only lawyers' fees. So just to leave that, but it doesn't take from the fact that we don't need to preempt the outcome of what's going on. But suffice it to say that these are indeed strange times when somebody helping them is saying that you recall that I actually advised you about this whole money, and that's with us, and that there's no hanky-panky. But this money that has been advised about is in a filing cabinet or filing cabinets. That's the unusual part of it.
In a private residence.
And in a private residence. You know? And government has
all secured.
Government has so many different ways to hide a thing if they want to hide it.
In the real sense of it.
In the real sense of it. You will never find it. So what has been going on? Good morning. TJ on the line? Good morning, sir. TJ in Sango.
Yeah, please, my take is on the first topic.
Well, the second topic now. Don't take us back to the first topic. We're moving on. Please.
Let me express my opinion, because I tried a lot during the course of the first one. I couldn't get.
Okay. Let's mix and match then. Go on.
Thank you. Well, you know, we Muslims always say that halal, that God knows better. But you realize that, you know, what happens in our society in terms of academic, you know, there is more to it than makes.
Sorry. That's why I said I wish you had got in that time. Let's just leave it. Let's leave it all to God. In fact, the way you were going, you started off, I thought that was where you would end. For you to now say there's more to it that meets the eye. But thank you very much. Moving on the program this morning, we're looking at some of the things that we're beginning to hear, which probably is fine, because there was so much confusion and we need an authoritative version. There are people who are saying that no money was lost in the first place. There are people who say that
it belongs to somebody.
It belongs to somebody. All of these speculations, but that money is far too dangerous for some to be in a filing cabinet in a private house.
Dangerous, and
you know, in a private cabinet.
I think Jide was profiling the process from.
Please stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. The panel by the Vice President looking into the whole scandal of $43.4 million in cash in filing cabinets in a private house in Ikoyi has thrown up that the NIADG actually advised the NSA in a memo that the money was in their keeping. But in the meantime, Tunde Kazim from Abeokuta is on the line. Good morning, sir. Well, I did come as soon as I could. Very sorry about that. See if you can get in again. Okay, if these are, if things are being explained away now, for instance, the ownership of the money, I think without preempting the committee, we probably have a good idea of where we're going to be ending up. Some said from the very beginning that there is no lost money. Neither is there any money that is unclaimed that we don't know the owner of. Again, these things might be sorted out. But the very fact that this is money that I understand there are memos saying that it should be released in cash.
Yes.
How do you release 43.4 million naira kind of money in cash?
Dollars.
Dollars, sorry. Did I say naira?
Yes.
It's because I'm in Nigeria. I meant dollars. How do you release that kind of money in dollars and expect that everybody should have, you know, a sense of equanimity?
It's not appropriate. Well, I think what we also need to do is to track, you know, the disbursement, as it were. Well, it's established now that it was disbursed in 2015, February, November 2014, yes. February 2015.
Yes.
Of course, that's under the immediate past government. I think it's also proper at this time too for that government, as represented by the ex-president, to also issue a statement, you know, because some of these things are in the public place already. I also think it's appropriate to act as a statesman at this point in time, to step forward and offer his advice, you know, his interaction with all these issues.
You're talking about former President Jonathan?
Yes, because this money, you know, was released when he was in office. That is established.
On his watch?
Yes.
Tunji from Lagos, good morning, sir. Is it my voice that is disconnecting these lines? As soon as I say, please go ahead now. I'm sorry about that. That's the way it happened. So,
and was released cash.
And was released in cash.
Breach, and it's a breach of all possible, all imaginable processes and procedures in the civil service and the public service.
So how that mistake was made is going to be one of the quests of the Oshibajo committee, right?
I think that the decision of the panel to invite...
sorry, I beg your pardon. Let me take Prince Ajibola calling in from Ikeja. Good morning, Prince.
Good morning, Uncle Yoris.
Thank you for calling in, sir.
Good morning. Let me sincerely greet Babajide there.
Good morning.
For his contribution to nation building. God will continue to bless you.
Good morning.
We are your fans.
Yeah, thanks.
If you carry pilot to do something today, we'll vote for you. Don't worry. Now, this is the first time, sir. I'm saying my name. It's not Ajibola. Adebola is my name.
Oh,
Adebola is my name.
Prince Adebola?
Yes.
Okay. And please, kindly stay on the second topic.
So, Uncle Yori, let's look at it for the first time in the history of Nigeria. That somebody will keep money somewhere. And they will see it. Nobody can come out and say, this is my money. First time in the history of this country. And it shows clearly that that is how they have looted our money. Not government money, our money. It's because the citizens don't come out to show the exercise of what they have, killing us today. So, and that money is part of that money they wanted to use to vote for in 2015. To be candid with you. Because the River State said they are the owner of the money. Because Amechi is in cabinet and they know the way they treat each other. But outcome that it is now money belongs to NIA. So let's leave the vice president to finish his whatever. I heard that they had a meeting for 11 hours yesterday.
Yes. And
good things will come out from it. He's a Christian. He's a redeemer. He's my pastor. Let's see what is going to happen. Outcome of this.
Yeah, but thank you very much. But he's none of that at the moment. He's the vice president of the Federal Republic, and
serving all interests.
Serving all interests. And EFCC reportedly has sort of slowed down its actions on that whole Ikoyi cash haul while the vice president's committee is in session. It's a 2-week. They have a 2-week timeline.
Yes, I think that normally it has to do with the fact that the president wants a resolution of this whole matter in good time. So if we leave it to the FCC, they could actually be on it for weeks and months. But now the president wants to get to the root of this matter quickly, because Nigerians are eager. Yeah. And it's a good thing that beyond the boss of NIA, they have also been talking to some of his aides, people in his office, and know that I'm sure that some of them will be able to provide some information that are not already in the public domain, you know, that will enable us to get to the root of this matter.
Good morning, Mr. George. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, Uncle Yorick.
Good morning, sir.
And good morning to your guest, especially the gentleman on the left.
Is that Jide?
Yes.
The man in the brown suit.
I'm always proud when I see him and the way he makes contribution to our political system.
Somebody has already called him the walking encyclopedia of Nigerian politics.
Yes, in fact, people like him make me proud to be a Nigerian. So as for the issue of the looted fund, Uncle Yori, I'm personally not persuaded by the presentation that the NIA DG has made. Okay. Because the whole thing does not still seem to add up. If you said that the National Security Advisor is aware, which National Security Advisor are you referring to? Is it the one that took over from the last one, or the last one under trial? If it is the one on, that is current now, how come that the president cannot suspend the DG if the National Security Advisor had told him that he's aware of the case? So I look at it as if he's trying to rope in some people so as to get out of the hook. But at the end of the investigation, we'll still see how it goes. Indeed. That money, the CBN governor, I repeat, has a case to answer. That money was not, the way I am seeing it, it was not brought in there in 2015. It's more recent than that. So you should tell us how the money got there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. These are the things that we need to know and can't possibly know. But there is this worrying aspect that if, as has been said, and Mr. George raises pertinent questions, which NSA advisor? Was it the former one or the incumbent? But if the president or presidency was aware of the existence of this humongous sum, then why this whole circus? Remember that, especially if you happen to be in a pepper soup joint, when this whole story was breaking, you would have heard that the NIA director, ABD director, tried to reach Magu. It is our money. Magu would not listen. He carried on. That is, you would have heard that if you happen to be in a pepper soup joint. If it was in a more recent place, maybe none of that rubbish speculation.
Some pepper soup bloggers actually also published that.
So from the very, very beginning, this was set up to be one heck of a drama. I wonder why, if it is, why it was allowed to play out. Because it seems to boggle the mind that any useful government will not know of $44 million in cash sitting down somewhere that emanated from it.
I don't think that Magu believed their story from the beginning.
I got to go to, is it a break? No, it's not a break. So sorry, we're rounding off now.
Magu must have asked himself a lot of questions. That, look, what's this money doing here?
Yeah.
When he got the information that that money was lying there, he decided to move in. You know, from some of the stories that we've read, he was told, look, leave this money, you are just being overzealous, this and that. But Magu must have felt, look, this money will eventually end up being spent by a few people, rather than Nigerians, the entirety of the Nigerian people, how do I describe it, rather than being used by the state. Just a few Nigerians, for public purpose, just a few Nigerians could have just accessed this money. So he didn't believe their story. That was why he moved further to say, okay, whatever it is, if this money indeed belongs to you people, you will be able to let the president know, and the president could ultimately release it to you people. Well, so I think he did the right thing.
It sounds logical, but it does sound logical. Nia, I don't have any more time, but did you want to add one sentence?
No, it's the trend is okay.
And it's proceeding apace, and they have 2 weeks in any case, so we'll know. So thank you very much, High Chief Nia Kinshiju, journalist and policy analyst, and Babajide Kola Otitoju. Kola De Otitoju, but you can short. I don't know why Kola shortened it, because his first name is Kola. He now shortened it to Kola Otitoju, the journalist and head of the TVC News Nigeria. So that's our program. I'll see you tomorrow, God willing, with a fresh edition of the program. I'm Yori Folani. Bye-bye for now.